Hello and welcome
It's me.
to the podcast that we do every week on time on the same day every week.
Sometimes more often than others.
Yeah, exactly. We're way more regular than probably 90% of other podcasts because there's a lot of podcasts out there now. This is What's in the Dungeon podcast. I'm the guy. I am John. That's
Lord Lisp.
That's Murph. And we have just pissed. Oh, we got a follower 23 minutes ago, by the way. I meant to tell you while we're chatting.
10 followers.
We have 10 followers now. That means we have 10 people who watch us.
Don't consistently
and don't ask questions. Ask us questions. Yeah, it was Jamie. I'm gonna mispronounce it. Kodiga.
Jamie.
Kodiha. I was gonna say, and that's not correct. 13. Does that mean they're 13 years old, or they were born in 2013? Or
neither, I hope. I think it's 13 times that they've punched someone in the face.
That's a lot of times. I think I've done that twice. My name would be.
Have you actually punched two people in the face?
I have punched two people in the face.
That's
your
intense.
mom. No.
Fuck, that's why she looks.
Oh my God, Murph, you just dissed your own mom. Jesus Christ.
Hey.
This is a podcast where we don't talk about people's mothers. We talk about Dungeons and Dragons and other dingoes. Other tabletop role-playing games. I am your perennial host, and that's the other host. OMG, he got my name on the first time. And no, just my favorite number. Haha, I'm 26. I was Navy with Jake. Is Navy like a code? He was Navy with you? Is that like...
She, and they were...
She! Oh my God, I misgendered someone on the internet. I am canceled. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm very sorry. Jamie is... I have a lot of people in my life who have been males named Jamie, and I'm very sorry. I let that color the...
Jamie Jams over here.
Yeah. Oh, 26. That's like the... Wow, I gotta go to my safe space now. Yes, you should go to your safe space. And I will
Right,
go to the...
stop those jokes before they get...
I'm sorry. Okay. Anywho, we discuss board games, tabletop role-playing games, video games, comic books, sometimes randomly. And also random bullshit that has no bearing on anything we should normally discuss. No, you're fine. So, Murph, last week we discussed a topic that I'm remembering now. We talked about...
you talked about the...
Urban Shadows.
Yeah, Urban Shadows.
Yes, powered by the Apocalypse gaming system. We also talked a little bit about some HeroScape things. The turnaround on video publishing was next day. I had it up that night, actually.
I think I did get a notification that it was up.
I was like, bam, I'm gonna get it so that... Like, it's the same night. Like, the same night we record, it's going to go.
You know
up.
what I realized? And
what do you realize?
Because I know that you use the Twitch service for the streaming, like the capture and stuff.
All hail Lord Twitch.
Do they have multi-stream?
I don't know what that word means.
Like the ability to stream to two services at the same time?
Like
OBS and Streamlabs does. So
maybe
there is a setting, because we're not affiliate yet. You can technically stream to YouTube and to Twitch at the same time and have two, and then it saves it to YouTube automatically at the end of it, so you wouldn't even have to send it over.
Potentially, I'd have to look into that. Murph, we've done probably 12, 13 episodes, and last time was the first time I used tags appropriately, or the time before last was the first time I'd used tags appropriately.
That is
so. We're not relying on me for great Twitch technical support. So we talked about some Urban Shadows. We talked about some other things. Our campaign is going well, but we won't get too far into that because we're not really... it's going to be confusing for people who don't like sit in my living room with me and play Dungeons & Dragons. But... Anyway, Murph has a topic that we're going to get to at some point later. He picked Cyberpunk last week, and I don't think he realized how deep the well was that he was digging into. So much. Murph has done a lot of good, like, productive work today. He had his day off, I think, right?
Yeah.
And he made a whole new tab on our Discord about episode research, and he's got like a couple paragraphs.
Use much, and I did that immediately, like within like the first 2 hours before the podcast.
That's okay.
Because I sat down today and was like, oh fuck, I gotta finish.
That's good. This tells me that this bit has legs. That's what this tells me, because you've put work into it.
More than no effort into it.
And that's all that I ask. It is more than no effort.
Yeah, it's not. It's not bad. Cyberpunk has a lot of cool shit going on to it. So I'm gonna start off by generally saying that I'm not the prolific master of all things cyberpunk. I don't know. I'm actually very new to this world of cyberpunk in the terms of like even media consumption. I never watched the original Blade Runner.
Okay.
I still have not.
You still have Murph. You've got to see it.
I have seen
Harrison Ford before he went crazy is excellent.
There is enough media out there that I've seen. I've seen a lot of references to the movie. Obviously, so many Easter eggs from all types of games and media. Especially what's his name at the end of it with the like Tears and Rain speech. Tears and Rain. Yeah. Yeah, it's a prolific speech. And it's a fantastic movie, and I've only heard good things about it. I just haven't ever had the time to see it.
That's pretty good.
Same thing apparently even with the sequel with Ryan Gosling, which had mixed reviews, but they were excited. I also didn't realize that there was a game that takes place in the Blade Runner universe that is canon to the storyline that takes place right after the first movie. And it was remastered not that long ago.
If we could do just a slight tangent, because I am a real nerd and I really wanted to talk slightly about this. So Blade Runner is actually inspired by a story called Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep? Which is written by an author named Philip K. Dick. He also wrote Man in the High Tower, which is
also a television show that was produced by FX.
And it is the alternate history where Hitler won or something, and it was
which also directly inspired Wolfenstein.
Yes, absolutely. But first of all, The Man in the High Tower, the book, excellent book. It's not as it's a lot more top-down view than the series, because like we have some key characters and stuff in it, and it's good. But the ending is really like open-ended. It's really fucking good. I really liked reading that book, and it's not too big. But oh fuck my brain, But he regularly wrote under the effects of LSD. Like he would take LSD and then write stuff, and most of his works are in fact, like he wrote a bunch of short stories, like a bunch of cool books. Most of his works were inspiration for Black Mirror, the series on Netflix that does a bunch of weird dystopian shit all the time, and Twilight Zone, which also kind of has the same vein of random bullshit, like sci-fi shit. So he's like this one guy who wrote the book that inspired Blade Runner, that inspired Cyberpunk, also inspired Wolfenstein, and a Netflix, like he's a very prolific if you trace the line back, like it's interesting to see where it all stems from. And I really like his books. He's got a lot of cool books and stories and shit.
So it's funny to state. So you mentioned Mr. Dick there, the author of
Mr. Dick.
Dream of Electric Sheep. There's also one other book that we mentioned last week that also heavily played into the inspiration for Blade Runner by William Gibson, and the book is called Neuromancer. And Neuromancer is the book I actually read. If you are a person that likes to read, if you would like to read it, I have the copy. It's fantastic.
Okay.
And if you have,
I thought you were talking to the 3 viewers we have right now, and I was like, are they gonna come to your house and get this book?
No. So if you John, if you ever have the time to read it, it is not a long book, but if you've ever played Cyberpunk and NES,
yes, I have.
Extent of the word, the game, it is so similar. It's crazy. Like specific things in the book Neuromancer play directly in. Like again,
I mean, right off the bat, I'm thinking of what is it? Net running, right?
Yeah, net.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Neuromancy sounds like net running to me.
Is directly inspired by neuromancy, which is the idea of jacking into a neural network, and the neural network, instead of being a void like it is in Cyberpunk, is more of like a recreation of life in a very like 1980s lawnmower man looking kind of setting. But it's really interesting to see it. Like, there's a ton of things that pull over, like the augmentation, like the eye, the mantis blades are a thing. Like, there's so many things that were put in there, and that's where I told you about like the first like modern convenient cell phone and like how that would work and stuff were all described in Mr. Gibson's book. And he was just bullshitting. Like, he said that the forward of the book is like he was looking at the static on a television, and that's what inspired him for the whole net idea. Maybe. I don't know. It's an interesting.
Most of the good sci-fi comes from people being high, I'll be honest.
Well, I have a quote from Mr. Gibson here, and I thought it was funny in relation to Blade Runner, and it says, "I was afraid to watch Blade Runner in the theater because I was afraid the movie would be better than what myself had been able to imagine." Yeah, he's like, in a way, I was right to be afraid because even the first few minutes of the movie were better than my book.
It's funny.
He said, "I met Ridley Scott years later. maybe a decade or more after Blade Runner was released, and I told him what Neuromancer was made of, and he had basically said the same list of ingredients for Blade Runner. So they're all inspired essentially by the same ideas, concepts, and a lot of it is like late 50s, early 60s sci-fi, like the idea of like the ray guns and stuff. Like they use the idea of technology they have now, and then they flash forward that to a more fancy.
It's kind of a more dystopian, less nuclear fallout.
Well, according to Neon Dystopia, the exact definition of cyberpunk is, and let me scroll back up and see if I can find this statement here. It is high tech. Is it high tech low life?
Yes. High tech low life
is the exact description. And apparently, also early cyberpunk was heavily femme noir. Like it was very inspired by like 20s and 30s dicks that like would go out and solve crimes, but like with this new flash of paint that they would put on.
Yeah.
It's the idea that they could take an old concept and rub new chrome on it and call it a new thing. It's very.
I like the idea that you rub chrome onto something, Murph. Please tell me more about how you rub chrome.
You rub that silver paint on there.
That's not the same. Chrome is like a trailer.
He just like sprays it and calls it a day.
Is this?
Everything's chrome in the future.
That's why I see Murph constantly rubbing himself on cars. He's trying to rub the chrome off.
Trying to get the chrome on. No, but no, it's funny to see all this in. Like the artwork here is fantastic. It's just funny to think that that's a thing. But there's so much going on. Here's another weird fact for you. Because Ridley Scott had such a huge influence in creativity at the time because of the success of the first Alien film and Blade Runner, canonically, Blade Runner and Alien are in the same universe. And not even like a weird like two parts of it. Like Earth in Blade Runner is happening approximately at the same time as the Alien movies.
Ooh, and we can both agree that Prometheus didn't happen.
Sure.
It's not real. It's not real.
I thought they were interesting movies, but not for Alien films.
No, they were. It was a good movie if you took it outside of.
In the sequel, I don't understand. Michael Fassbender does a great job though.
I love Michael Fassbender. He was the saving grace, and the fact that it was an Alien movie. But I was like, why? Why'd you do this?
I think it's typically a pretty cool idea. He just played that android guy so well. Like it's just a good character.
Good old Gary Oldman.
David and
chest burster.
Something else.
Huh?
I think they called him David in the movie. His android character was called David. English in the first one and then very American in the second one. It was just super weird to see him act and kind of make out with himself in the sequel. I was like,
I found it very attractive, very hot.
It's two Michael Fassbenders making out.
Yeah,
it's a thing.
Super hot.
It's not the concept of two dudes kissing that's weird. It's
wow, Murph, you're homophobic. Wow.
No, it's watching a man kiss himself is the weird part.
That is a bit weird.
What is this incest? Is
it incest or masturbation or just gay sex? Who knows?
Is it both?
It could be all three.
But yeah. So they're in because Yutani, something.
Weyland Yutani.
Weyland Yutani is the manufacturer for a lot of droids, and the droids in the Blade Runner series.
Star Wars too.
Thank you.
There are droids in Star Wars, Murph. I know that.
All robots are now owned by Ridley Scott.
They're all owned by Weyland Yutani.
Which technically, there was a joke that since Ridley Scott's, a lot of his movies share same universes, they're like, so does that mean technically Gladiator is in the same universe? It is 100%.
It's just a different planet. It's not actually Earth. It's the planet Spartica.
It's the
yeah, that would be fun.
The planet of gladiators.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's a little background on that. So the big concept that I pulled out for today for Cyberpunk, because there's tons of it. There's some fantastic YouTubers that have made some great deep dives.
Is this specifically the tabletop Cyberpunk?
Yes, this is specifically the tabletop. Now here's the weird part, and I thought this was kind of a funny. So originally, the first Cyberpunk game labeled as just Cyberpunk takes place in 2013.
Oh yeah, okay.
Weirdly, but the timeline doesn't technically start because it was created in, I think, 88 is what they stated. So it was created in 88, and it takes place, the timeline starts in the 90s, and then every expansion adds to that timeline between 10 and 15 years of content.
Okay.
But the game doesn't take place until 2013. So the first Cyberpunk is called, by the people who use it, Cyberpunk 2013.
Okay.
Cyberpunk 2077 is inspired by Cyberpunk, the expansion Cyberpunk 2020, which I think came out in like the mid 2000s. So there's, like I said, there's a lot of timelines here. There's a ton of stuff. This was created by a fantastic author. He is literally the father of modern cyberpunk art.
R. Talsorian? Is that it?
That's the interlock system.
That's different.
That was
okay.
his. Yeah, that's his. That's the system of play, kind of like the one that with the die.
Power to the Apocalypse. Okay, yeah. Sorry to get ahead. I'm looking at notes and I'm like,
yeah, yeah. It's kind of the same thing, but the game was actually started by a guy named Mike Pondsmith.
Okay.
He's still around. He still makes content, and he was a consultant for the Cyberpunk game. So good on them for actually getting him involved. But it was published by the R. Talsorian Games in 1988. So 88 was the first. Yep, first edition was 88, takes place in 2013. And then after that point, they respectively come out like every 10 years or so.
Okay.
In terms of timeline-wise, all the way up to 2020.
Okay. And Murph, how many demons can I summon if I play Cyberpunk 2013 or 2020?
So you make that joke, but you can summon demons in Cyberpunk?
No, I mean like Dungeons and Dragons is Satan worship, right? This is what we agreed on.
Worship of technology.
Okay.
This is how the Matrix
So
happens.
it like summons cyborg demons?
Yeah, so Doom.
Cool. Okay, yeah, I like that.
All right.
You can't do that.
The thing that I wanted to point out, actually, BFG is not copyrighted.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they didn't copyright their music, so you can use it. Nintendo does the same thing. They don't copyright their music, so you can use it for stuff.
Did you know, John's random fact of the day that has nothing to do with anything we're talking about, Jonas Salk did not patent the vaccine for polio. And the reason why is he said, you can't patent the sun, so why would I patent this? I was like, oh, that's cool. He wanted everyone to have access to it and stuff. Sorry.
I just want to point out a 7-hour drive for the book. Yeah, sure.
No.
Or I can just send you a digital copy. Or B, I could send you 20s or 30s dicks.
You said 20s or 30s dicks, and I made a little smirk, and I didn't say anything.
Referring to detectives, thank you.
I need a soundboard, and every time we say something inadvertently, it's gonna go dick joke. That's what I need. I need a button that I can just press that it does that.
You can get that
without having to shout. It's just like.
He did it. He said the thing.
He said the dick joke.
I wish it also did various PNGs would pop up.
Oh my god, yes.
Penis.
Oh my god, my secret penis PNG folder.
It's like MLG, but for dicks.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So something I thought was pretty interesting. This is what I was joking about beforehand. Is the character creation stuff is all about body modification, cyber tech, and bioengineering.
Okay.
But the 4 tenets of Cyberpunk are really funny.
Okay, I see that right here.
It's kind of odd. I would like you to read these 4 tenets.
Okay. So I see them right here. Style
and ends at 4. Yeah.
Okay. Also, Jamie says, I'm doing my best to decipher and understand what you guys are saying, but I'm enjoying it. Yes, we talk about nerd shit. It's confusing. I'm sorry. So rule number 1, Murph, of course, style over substance. Style over substance. Who cares about what the thing is? We care about how it looks.
No, that's exactly it. So the statement from the actual creator was, it's not about what you're doing. It's about how good you look doing it.
Absolutely.
So they're like, if you fail, you got to make it look like you failed on purpose. So part of the DM of the game's purpose is to tell you not only that you fucked up, but then they're going to ask you how you fuck up. And you have to explain it in a way that sounds good or they penalize you.
Wow. That's pretty good. I like that. I like penalizing.
So it's like, I fall, but I fall into a front handspring and break my arm like a badass. And they're like, yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, you pass.
Okay, rule number 2, Murph. You ready? Attitude is everything.
Yeah. So
that was me having attitude.
Being a nice guy in Cyberpunk actually gets you negative connotations. So,
of course,
being a shithead is
attitude is everything, Murph.
Yeah, the idea is you're making the ultimate edgelord.
Yeah.
I've got fucking falcon eyes that can shoot lasers, and I specifically give people cancer.
Absolutely. That is the superpower. Okay, rule number 3. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Always take it to the edge.
Your ticket has the whole seat, but you're only going to need
the edge. You have to say it like that. Always take it to the edge is rule number 3 of Cyberpunk.
Okay, so when the guy was explaining this one, I almost laughed physically out loud because it was like, where thrill seekers live, the edge of the seat. That's why they call them, and I didn't know this, that is why they call them edge runners. Yeah. Is because of the idea that they live life on the edge.
We're on the edge, yeah.
And I'm like, how does that
I only drink Mountain Dew. Yeah.
Rain. Just like Monster Energy drinks.
Oh my god.
Brings you fuck.
Of course it does.
And a fuck. No, but I just don't understand this one, how that translates to a board game, because it's like, What does that?
Oh,
mean?
I think
live life on
the way I interpret this is that you should always try to do the cool. So like in our campaign, I told you guys, try to not make it edgy. Yeah. And this is like, okay, no, fucking make it edgy, make it dark, make it dramatic, do it all. Like, your parents died because their parents killed them, and you had to avenge your dead parents by killing their dead parents. Oh! I wear a long black trench coat.
You stumble into an orphanage that's on fire. I shoot all the orphans because fuck the orphans.
Because fuck the orphans and I'm in league with fire. Fire put a hit on all these orphans.
And they're like, yeah, fuck yeah.
That's what I'm imagining. I don't know.
DM has a mohawk for some reason. He's like, yeah, fuck these.
Okay, rule number 4 is okay. So in parentheticals is break, and then the rules. So I think it's supposed to say like rule number 4 is the rules, but then it's like, haha, break the rules. I did a thing.
So that was a copy paste, and I just want to point out that according to rule number 4, that is breaking the rules by definition means that you can do anything that the DM says that you're not allowed to do.
Okay, that sounds like horribleness.
Apparently,
that sounst like I would die.
Now it is restricted in the sense that it has to make sense. So if they were like, in this universe, Arasaka is the corporal overlords, and they vastly outnumber you, outpower you, and they outgun you, and you're like, cool. No, they don't. That's breaking the rules.
Yeah.
Like, that's
no, I ride a unicorn and it conquers all of them.
John Rambo.
Yeah. And the alien and the predator are there, and they're my friends, and we're gonna kill everyone.
And we all fuck.
Yeah, we all fuck because I ship that. Yeah, you have to describe that now, DM. Do it.
Tiny weird mouth.
I'm gonna be sick. Oh no, take it back from the edge. Don't take me to the edge on that one. That's gross. So break the rules is rule number 4.
It's rule number 4, and these are the 4 tenets of Cyberpunk. Because the idea, which is funny, because if you play the game, it has nothing to do with 4 of these things.
No, not really. I think style over substance is true. I think that probably does it, and I do think that like all the quests that you do probably take it to the edge. Like, there's never just like a boring. It's always you gotta save this person, you gotta kill this guy, and you gotta hack into the web and do this shit. Like, it always seems kind of high on the octane side. I don't know about attitude or breaking the rules. It seems like I can't break the rules in Cyber. Like, it seems like that makes you follow the rules. It just sounds like rules
that they add to something that you would like. It's like the guy who gets a tattoo of something for the sake of getting a tattoo. I feel like these.
That's what I said. I was about to say I need a tattoo of this because this needs to be my life motto. Like, they're gonna be like, John, why did you do that? Because I always take it to the edge and I have style over substance. Yeah. It's like, I feel like
modern Hollywood guy.
Yeah, absolutely. I love these rules. I want to live my life by these rules, and I want to see how long I survive, which is probably all of 2.3 months.
Do you know, like, if I say the YouTube channel Film Cal, do you know?
I don't know what that is.
Okay, Film Cal created the series Charlie the Unicorn.
Okay, yes, I love Charlie. And his unicorn.
So yeah, and then Charlie to Unicron, which is the adult spinoff from already adult show.
It's fun when you swap letters.
Yeah, well, he took like a bunch of spinoffs because Jason Steele, the creator of Film Cal, just does like random shit all the time, did. I think he's finally retired from that. But one of the ones he did was like Zolthar, the God of Mercy. And every time it says like the 4 tenets, I always remember Zolthar, the God of Mercy, had 10 tenets of mercy, and the 10 tenets of mercy are never explained. But if you break one of the 10 tenets of mercy, it's immediate death.
Okay, yes, of course.
It's the least merciful thing ever.
No, it is mercy. Because then they don't suffer.
Like he just gets summoned to random events, and then he has to dictate like who is the merciful one and who's not, and then he just kills someone. And one of them is like, there's a kid crying because he has an ice cream cone, and there's a guy like obviously at the ice cream cart serving it, and he shows up and he's like, I am Zolthar, God of Mercy. You have broken one of the 10 tenets of mercy, prepare for death. And the guy's like, oh, come on, man, I was just giving him an ice cream cone. He's like, this isn't my fault. Like, how am I supposed to be upset that he's crying because he got an ice cream? And he's like, well, what kind of ice cream did you give him? And he's like, I gave him pralines. And he's like, well, did you not want pralines? And he's like, no, I wanted cookies and cream. And he's like, pralines are superior to cookies and cream. And then he just kills the kid.
See, and now we're back. We're back to our favorite topic, which is child murdering. We talk about this a lot, Murph. We need to stop talking about child murdering.
But then he takes the ice cream man back to his foot palace.
Okay.
And then he's like, Reginald, you seem to be upset. Are you not happy in the foot palace? And he's like, well, no, I was married and had kids, and I kind of miss him. And he's like, I have broken one of the 10 tenets of mercy. I must be destroyed.
Oh, no.
And then he kills
Of course. Okay.
Just like chained up in a foot.
I think that our here's the fun part of the show where Murph tries to verbally describe a visual meme. It is the most fun I ever have, always on the stream. It's okay.
It's so weird.
We do this every stream, though. You wanted to.
I fucking love it.
It's okay, and you got really tickled about it, and I'm glad you had a fun time.
It's such an old and stupid.
But I got nothing from that.
Every time I see Tenet, like in terms of like rules.
So when you watched the movie Tenet, did you not? You laugh the whole time?
I watched a review of it, and I was very confused.
You also were like, "This doesn't have anything to do with this random YouTube video I watched." Jesus Christ.
But yeah, okay, so we'll get back into it. So
yes,
I'm gonna read a piece of the notes that I took, and you might actually find this interesting, John. So it says,
I find everything interesting.
The core game mechanic and the concept is the concept of difficulty values in Cyberpunk. Yeah. So this is kind of how they figure shit out. And it's like it's used to gauge whether a player succeeds or fails at any given task. And this is kind of what we were referring to earlier. A player takes the value of their most appropriate character attribute, adds the value of any relevant skills or modifiers, and then finally adds the value of a 10-sided die roll.
Okay.
In order to succeed, they must beat the difficulty value assigned to the task by the game master, which is what they refer to. Cyberpunk was one of the first to ever use this concept, which is funny because I think D&D was technically the first.
D&D was the first. It is father.
D&D is father.
It is father. That is how D&D works. Like, I mean, we haven't gotten into like specific games master or dungeon master mechanics on how D&D works, but that like every time you guys roll, I have a number that I've picked for how that roll is gonna like succeed. And they give you like soft guides. So like if it's a really easy check, like you're trying to draw something that you know from memory, it's probably going to be a 5. If it's a hard check, like, oh my God, I need to find the footprints of a ghost in sand, it's probably going to be like a 20 or something. Like it ranges, and it usually scales by 5. So you got 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. But that's more or less what I do is when you want to do something, I have a number I pick randomly based on what I think the difficulty of that task would be. And then you have to achieve that number, which it seems like they do. They just don't use a 20-sided die, they use a 10-sided die. So the result is just going to be, more caged from the 1 to the 10 instead of the 1 to the 20.
Right. Okay, so a couple things to note for those of you that don't know. These are a couple small things that you can take away from Cyberpunk. So the first one, so since its release in 1988, it has sold over 2 million versions of the original.
2 million versions. That's not copies. That's different published
translated
versions.
Into 2 million 2 million versions. I'm sorry, 2 million copies of the worldwide edition have been sold because they translated it into like 14 different languages.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
It is one of the most accessible tabletop RPGs.
I see.
There's apparently it's published by in games published for by its fourth edition names, namely Cyberpunk 2020 and Cyberpunk Red. Fun fact about Cyberpunk Red was created by the original creator, not because the subsequent first 2 were created by the original guy. The other 3 were created by people of his team.
Yeah. Red was the actual guy.
Red was the actual guy, and it is a direct prequel to the game. So when the game came out, Cyberpunk Red actually takes place 32 years before the events of the first of Cyberpunk.
So you said it came directly before the game, and what you meant to say was it's 3 decades before the game, Murph.
So its purpose is that it's a direct
prequel I get what you're saying.
Cyberpunk 2077.
Yeah,
and then they made a board game out of Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay, so they took a video game, and then they made a tabletop role-playing game, and then the full circle, they came back to a board game.
Yeah, and then they made a direct sequel that is now being retconned by the game.
Of course, in the image of the copy, there is a grain of the original. It's very fun.
In this thing.
It's very fun. I like it. It's a circle.
But the first 2 most popular editions of Cyberpunk take place is the original 2013, and then I think it said it was 2020 is the second most popular.
Yeah. Okay, I can see that. 2020, that was a really good year for everyone. That was a good year for humans. I think that of any year should be a year that we have as a Cyberpunk game.
God, no one knew.
Think about what we could have had. We could have had body modifications, mantis blades.
Were excited for 2020 because they were like the Roaring 20s.
The Roaring 20s are back. Everyone's sick and dying, and everyone's gone crazy. So good job,
like
everyone.
The actual Roaring 20s. Only the rich white people got to do shit, and everybody else died.
Yeah, I mean that's just like history, though. Like just honestly, that's just everything.
It's everything. I misspoke a second ago. It wasn't 32 years. It was 22 because Cyberpunk Red is set 22 years before 27,
okay.
or in 77 in 2040.
So 55.
That's when it takes place.
77 minus 22 is 55.
I think so that is 30 something.
So it is 32. Okay, yeah, you're right.
Screwed up.
Believe yourself, 22. Murph. You are right. Fuck those guys in particular.
As I stated, Pondsmith, the original creator, did work with CD Projekt and then created Red in direct to the story that takes place.
I've definitely seen Red. Like I go to game shops and I go to bookstores a lot, and I've never seen a Cyberpunk on sale other than Red. Like I've seen Red regularly at game stores and stuff. Like it seems like that's the one they're pushing, and it's probably
well, it's because like CD Projekt Red has also got their hands in that.
Yeah,
their concept artists and stuff did a lot of the work. I will state that what's interesting is that in 2019, before 2077 was like even put out to like be more than just the meme of Keanu Reeves, they dropped the Jumpstart kit, which is a Cyberpunk Red like miniature version. So like think of like the opposite of a Legacy Edition. Like it's a simplified, quick start.
Okay, it's like Monopoly
campaign kind of game. So it's still an RPG, but it's like in terms of like something that we've done. So like with the Quiet Year, it's a very simple baseline of rules. Here's how you play it. So they just take the normal game and then they cut a lot of the fat off of it. And they're like, here's 5 very easy campaigns to do with pre-established characters that you just pick up and move with. Like they're already made. You just pick one and play them. And it satisfies the story. And then when Cyberpunk Red actually dropped, then it had the full creative character and do all that stuff.
Okay, I get that. I like that. What kind of I don't know if you know this, but like what kind of character creation options are there? Like are there different races? Are there different classes? Like what kind of system does that work?
It's all human-esque. So that there's no like we're not bringing alien races in. We're not doing races. This is all strictly human, and it's genuinely just based off of there's like a what do they call it? Like a mechanical list of items that can be done for body modification, and whether or not you have an aptitude for net running.
Okay.
It's super simple. I have this written down here. Yeah, as Cyberpunks, the player embraced body modification, cybertech, and bioengineering, and then that's where they live by the forte. I could not find a lot of information about that itself outside of like a lot of the guidebook, just images themselves. But like the big one is like character creation. Always take the edge and break the rules. Yeah, so the board game features 10 classes, with each one boasting its own special ability. And these classes include assassins, bodyguards, no, you're good, netrunners, nomads, fixers, and a couple more that are kind of like added in later editions.
Ooh, fun.
But the big classes. So they have a couple different classes. Obviously, things like netrunners have more net running capabilities than say an assassin does.
Yeah,
assassins
naturally
have more. Yeah, the assassins have more modifications though than a bodyguard does. So kind of interesting on how that plays. What's weird, though, is that your base stats are less effective in terms of overall gameplay than your modifications are. Like, modifications can lead you to cyber psychosis, which is kind of a big thing in the game that they just didn't utilize very well. Yeah. But you get way more of a buff for having those than you do for just being, like,
being overtly charismatic as opposed to having a body modification that makes you more attractive and thus more charismatic.
Yeah, so, and I shit you not, like body modification includes breast implants.
Oh yeah, of course. I mean that's the most important one. So like if you
play a female character, that does actually add to charisma.
Yeah.
So that's kind of funny. Now granted, that's
straight
much
white
later,
male
and that doesn't have to be in the thing.
I guess a lot of people other than that love boobs. Boobs are cool.
Yeah,
I think
they're universally liked in most cases.
I mean, I'm indifferent. Like they're cool. I'd like to maybe bounce them a little bit. Like that seems like it'd be a fun activity. But that's probably about the majority. It doesn't
always have to be a sexual attraction.
Yeah, I'm just curious about what they necessarily one. Okay, I know milk comes in when you have a kid. So what's in there now? What are you hiding? What's in there? They got milk there. Like what's going on? Like what is in there?
What are you doing in there?
They're not. It's not fat. I know. And it's got mammary glands in there, which is a fun word to say.
It's mainly just fat because they can literally transfer stomach or ass fat to your chest.
That's crazy.
Yeah, life, man. Doctors will do some crazy shit.
They have no borders.
God, So one of the things that people enjoy about this game, or that I've seen a lot of good criticism towards, is the life path system that they use, which states that a lot of your choices, because life is random, like you can't dictate how your life happens, you use a 10-sided die to roll for random outcomes that your character now has to deal with. So like, hey, you got a body modification to help you run faster, right? Like you got like a lung augmentation that
harder, faster, stronger.
Yeah, like, so it just like pumps oxygen into your lungs easier, so you can burn.
Unfortunately, it inflates them like balloons, and you fly off into the sunset and die.
Okay. Well, in this case, what they do is when you get that modification, they have a set stat of things that can happen, and you roll a die. So it may be the Ripper Doc does a fantastic job, and it works well above the optimized settings, so now you actually get a 10% boost to what it was going to do anyway. Or it could be the Ripper Doc fucking sucks at his job, and
you ripped your balls off.
You remove a lung.
Oh, goddamn.
So now you have one false lung and one working lung, and it causes severe chest pain, which causes your aim to drop by 10%.
Well, I guess that's why they have such, like, you said that they were more influential than your base stats. That's probably why, is because it can go so wrong. Or
because there's so many different ways that stuff can work out for you. So, yeah, it's really interesting to see how that works.
That's like that guy who, what was it, fastest blade in the West. He claimed he could amputate, like the fastest over anyone. And he, like, in one of his demonstrations, he sliced the patient open, and they eventually they died because he sliced. Obviously, this was back when medicine was pretty bad. He sliced one of his assistant's fingers. It developed gangrene, and they died. And then someone died of shock from seeing the operation take place. So, like, there's a 300% mortality rate for this one, like, simple amputation. Like, that's what I'm imagining. Like, the consequences of this happening is the guy goes to remove your arm, and oh god, he slips and falls in a puddle, and he gets electrocuted, and the electricity runs up to your table and kills you, and then the saw flies off into the street and cuts some woman's arm off.
So congratulations, the doctor you used doesn't believe in local anesthesia, so he's using a blowtorch on your naked skin.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're in extreme pain and you pass out.
Yeah, that's how it works, Murph.
Yeah, so the fucking, it's a crazy system. And sometimes the good news about Cyberpunk is that augmentations aren't necessarily voluntary. Sometimes they're mandatory, but it can save a character. So this is something that kind of separates it from a lot of RPGs, is that, like, if you lose a, like, let's say in comparison, like a saving throw. So like somebody shoots at you with a large caliber weapon, and you have to roll to try to see if you can dodge it, and you don't, and it hits you in the shoulder, and your arm comes off. Like, I mean, it literally comes off. Well, now you're bleeding to death. Okay, if this was a sword in D&D, from my experience, unless you know somebody in your party that can heal you, or you have something to do that, like, that could be the death of your character, because you fucked up royally. In Cyberpunk, it does not necessarily have to be the end, because cybernetics are so ingrained in the story and in the world that you are part of. You can legitimately just have, in a later chapter, a cybernetic arm attached to you, and then just run through your character like normal. But
it's
now
like fine, and now you have a cool arm.
Right.
Bam.
So, like, there are things that can happen. You don't have to build a character based off of a specific type for a team, because you can modify yourself. So if you're like, oh shit, not a single one of us has good aim, well, I'll just get a specific arm that helps with aim. Yet cost a shit ton, and I have to wield the campaign off onto my fucking own to go get money for this thing. But, like, it's things that you can do to kind of progress it, because people adapt. So that's
cool.
Always cool.
That's a cool level of flexibility to have.
A big thing in this one has also been kind of like the way the world in Cyberpunk is built, because it is our Earth all the way up until 1980. Everything historically happens the exact way until 1980. I think it's 83, and then we fork off.
Yeah.
Everything in Cyberpunk is different from that point forward, and then our world is obviously our world.
Obviously, it's our world.
It says that specifically in the original tabletop game, so 2013, it says the collapse of all global superpowers and the rise of mega corporations. So instead of standard forms of government, corporations now own everything.
So like how it is right now.
Yeah, except that, like, people still have flags of America, and they don't then.
Okay, gotcha.
But it's a battle for dominance across the entire planet, which means that you could have cities that are strictly designed and quarantined off just for two companies to beat the hell out of each other, which is kind of interesting. Cyberpunk 2020 has seen food shortages, famine, and the Middle East has become, the entirety of the Middle East is now a radioactive desert from the amount of nuclear war.
Oh, no. That doesn't seem fair to them.
enhancements in human age. Yeah. Also, people are being harvested for organs that can make robots run more effectively.
Yeah,
so there
that's
are
obvious.
entire groups of people where robots will have these moments where they trip out because they're human.
Ooh, they've got like phantom body parts that are like activating. Well, it's like, ooh, so I've got this guy's brain, and now he's taking over.
It's like where a robot will be like a trash janitor will walk into a person's home and go, "Hi, honey, I'm home," and they're like, "What the fuck?" It's because
stop. What is a trash janitor? How is that different from a regular janitor?
Well, I don't know. Fucking, it's just
they specialize. They've got a special license for trash. It's like, no, if you're not getting your trash cleaned up by a trash janitor, you're getting the job done wrong. I'm the special trash janitor.
Yeah, fucking hell. But no, so there's like, it's just weird to see like a robot would go home because like tinges of its memory would kick in. Ooh. And then they're panicking, and then they have to come in, and now you have to explain to a family that yes, after your husband died, we put his brain in a robot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So weird shit like that. Combat in the game is a little interesting. This is something that I thought was pretty cool. They use a combat system that is not co-opted from another system. They made one up called the Friday Night Firefight.
Okay.
Which is
that's a popular TV series. Friday Night Firelights. That's Friday Night Lights.
Words. The football show, thank you.
Friday Night Lights, also known as Cyberpunk. That's how it's also known as.
Well, it's funny because they abbreviate it to FNAF.
FNAF. That's the thing that the kids play nowadays. They play that on their Steam decks and their Twitch games. I couldn't think of another console. That was it. It's okay. Anyway, so they have this whole new combat system.
They have a system called Friday Night Firefight, and its core emphasis is on lethality. So as opposed to other role-playing game systems, which sees characters building more hit points as they progress, so as you level up, you get more hit points. The amount of damage a character can take does not increase in Cyberpunk as the character levels up at all.
Okay.
Like your health is finite.
Yeah.
That just
that kind of makes sense. I could see that. Like realistically.
But your character's damage also does not increase unless you perform body modifications.
Yeah. Or go to the gym.
You get bigger weapons.
Okay.
Strength-based stats cannot increase.
That kind of makes sense though. Like realistically, if I punch someone now or if I punch them in 10 years, it's probably going to feel the same unless something like horrific or amazing happens. Like there's got to be some qualifying life event that's going to change that. And I guess same with like health. Like if a bullet shoots me now, or if a bullet shoots me, that's not how bullets don't if I get shot,
flies out of nowhere.
If I get shot now, or if I get shot in 20 years, it's still probably going to kill me. Like I might have more long-term consequences, like if I'm older and survive. But like if like the death is the death. I'm not gonna die. There are certain things, I guess, that you just die. You don't have a hit point requirement. So that makes sense. I could see that.
It's interesting. And also, armor classes specifically in this game work a little bit differently because they are specific to certain types of damage.
Okay.
So whereas like a leather armor can be good at like light grazes from daggers and stuff like that, but like, if you shoot a big ass fucking arrow at you, it's probably going to pierce you because it's just leather.
It's a big ass
and then steel
arrow.
armor is specific. It's heavier, but okay, well now you can have heavy weave armor that weighs the same as light armor, but the heavy weave armor cannot block knives. Like it just can't, because Kevlar can't stop piercing. It can stop a bullet though.
So that types of armor to me does not make any sense, Murph. How does that work? How can you have a Kevlar vest that can take a bullet? A bullet is a bullet. Have you seen bullets? They go fast. They go vroom. Right. And they can't stop a knife. This is how I know that everything's magic and made up. Like that makes no sense.
Some
planes shouldn't be able to fly. They're like 2 tons of steel. That doesn't make any sense.
Metal really fast, and somehow he got off.
No, none of this is real. This is all magic, and they're just hiding it from us. This is my conspiracy corner right now.
That like loves planes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the only time a plane crashes is when he gets bored and he just lets it go.
It's funny because whenever you did the woo there, I think it registered too high on my limit and it tripped and you just cut out immediately. Because I have it set for when Troy's in the background yelling and whooping, and so I guess you set it off too. Yep, you cut off again. You reached a certain point and then it went.
Yeah.
So Murph, overall, it seems like a fun game system. It seems like it's a little bit more complicated than I'm used to in terms of I'm just not familiar with it.
Was a bit rough in the beginning from what I've seen.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people that stated that there was a lot of things again. There was a lot of people that compared it to Dungeons and Dragons at the time because D&D was doing well in the 88s. Here's the issue that people had with it is that he was not setting out to do anything based off of Dungeons and Dragons. In fact, according to Mr. Pond, there were a lot of things that he came up with that just happened to be similar.
Oh,
now he states,
that's crazy.
Again, it's like the idea of like they state that what he has done is it's considered like subconscious influence.
Yeah.
But like if you're
like, man, that song is so great. Never gonna give you up. Never gonna let you go. These lyrics are fire. I'm gonna make this song. Oh shit.
And then Young Gravy, and he just did the same thing.
Shit.
It's just one of those things where it's like I don't think that there was ever like any like purposeful plagiarization. I think there's just only so many ways that you can skin a cat before it becomes the same way someone else does.
I mean, humans have been around for so long. I'm sure someone in like Samaria years ago was like, it would be so cool if we took these wooden blocks, that's not a word, wooden blocks, and threw them on the ground and got different outcomes for imaginary situations. And one of them was like, oh, you're playing with fire. What if you summon one of the gods from Samaria I'm really struggling to name, but I can't think of, but I definitely remember from history, but I can't remember them. What if you summon them? Oh, you're gonna die, you're gonna go to hell. And then, they were like, oh yeah.
And he was like, fuck, you're right. And then he went to hell.
And then he went to hell. Yeah, surprise. I'm sure there have been different iterations of this. It's just that now we have copyright laws and patent courts and all that other shit.
There's like obviously a lot of nuance and about how things are presented. I think it is a fantastic concept. I'm glad that it exists. It's so interesting to see how the cyberpunk subculture is really an amalgamation of like so much shit. Like there was so many people kind of developing this style because it wasn't just literature. It was like media. It was like comics. It was like all of this happening about the same time. No one can really say what the origin is. They all started coming out about the same time.
Yeah.
So no one, like people are accredited for putting out a book first, but that doesn't mean that it was written first. It just means it was published before someone else's. So there's like so much stuff that they accredit to it, but everyone agrees that they believe that the majority of what cyberpunk is came from 40s and 50s late sci-fi films. Like, it came from Another Earth and shit like that. Like there's so many.
The Thing.
Like well, not so much monster movies, but like,
I just like saying The Thing. That's a fun movie.
Well, another weird fact for you. So Leslie Nelson, the comedian. Yes. Everyone knows him specifically as a comedian, was a very well-known dramatic actor before he was a comedian. And his first comedy was Airplane.
Yeah.
But his first major movie title was a sci-fi film. And it was late. It was one of the few movies of its time period that still remained true to that type of movie, even as late into the 60s as it was made.
Yeah.
But it's fantastic. It's actually a really cool movie, and it inspired the robot from Lost in Space, the Danger Robot.
Oh, yeah. Do you want to know another weird fact?
What's that?
Do you know the Diabetes Man? The guy who would come on the TV?
Brimley.
He had a part in The Thing. He is on the credits. I don't know what part. I was just watching it and saw his name there, and I don't remember seeing a mustachioed man, but he is in the credits, Wilford Brimley. Well, and I looked it up. It's the same guy.
Yeah,
he was an actor. He also produced a country music album, which was very interesting. Maybe like old, like it's more like folk music, I guess would be close. Like old sort of I think that one of the albums' name is Home on the Range, and I think it has music like on Home on the Range. But yes, Wilford Brimley was in The Thing, just completely random. Diabetes. You have to say diabetes.
Here's the thing: is like Wilford Brimley for me has a different meaning than the people that just know him from the diabetes memes.
Diabetes memes.
He is also the villain in a TV, or not even a TV show. There's a YouTube series.
Okay. Yes.
Called The Frollo Show.
Okay. Yeah.
And Wilford Brimley is the villain of The Frollo Show. And I'm not going to sit here and explain it as I've done other things.
It's okay if you try, but I'm going to be really lost.
The Frollo Show is it's a TV show made by South American gentleman.
Okay.
And he has taken, you know what like the idea of rotoscoping is?
Yes, but explain it to the listeners who don't.
Okay, so rotoscoping is the art of cutting out an object in film or media and putting it on a flat background.
And putting it on a flat background. Yeah, like I know. Yeah.
Thank you. So like the green screen memes where like they'll take, I don't know, like Keanu Reeves from the No You're Amazing guy.
Yeah.
That thing. No, you're breathtaking. Yeah. And then they can edit that to like where a guy opens his door and Keanu Reeves is standing there and he points it. That's rotoscoping. It's like take that.
Yeah.
His entire show, like almost 30 to 40 episodes, is all rotoscoped characters.
Okay.
Like meticulously pulled and voice acted. in the weirdest YouTube poop looking way you've ever seen in your life. But for some reason, they chose that Wilford Brimley should be the bad guy.
Wilford Brimley is the bad guy. That's his title.
He's
in
like
America.
A weird perfection.
He did a lot of good work though.
Parademon thing that eats people and is obsessed.
Oh no,
with
not Wilford Brimley.
Girl.
I grew up watching his commercials like constantly, like because they were on the channels that I was. And if you have diabetes, like 40% of America or something, I don't know.
It's so weird. Is I always thought it was just him that said diabetes.
That's just a way of saying it.
That is actually certain people that that's how they think diabetes
is
stated.
They see that ES at the end and they go, that's not an ES. I'm going to say it how I think. Diabetes. That's not how you say diabetes.
Diabetes.
Diabetes is a Greek word, I think, or Latin, I believe. Diabetes is a...
Diabetes is the guy that used to carry my sword around.
Oh my god.
Roman boy. Yeah,
anywho,
that's all I got.
sorry.
Yeah,
that was a fun deep dive on Cyberpunk. You talked a lot longer about Cyberpunk than I talked about Urban Shadows, and I like that.
Well, you had more detailed information as somebody who's backed it and stuff.
True.
There's so much more that can be learned about this. It's like trying.
It's
to
also
into,
big. Like there's like 12 different versions. That's a lot, Murph.
There's a lot of expansions. There's a couple of games that were actually inspired by Cyberpunk that went off. Like there's one that's like there's a steampunk version like taking place in the West of like 1870 that you can play, and it's pretty interesting. But it's the same thing. They use the same system. It's carbon copied over just with a different environment and background. But that's really cool. I dig it. I think it's a cool thing. I would love for us to try it someday.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know if I want to spend the money that they're asking for it because the first edition originals are going for like $600, and it's
expensive. Yeah. I was looking at that. Well, thank you, Murph. I appreciate your research on that. That was a fun topic. So next week is going to be a little bit different. I've decided just now in the last 20 seconds of you talking. Next week is the week before.
The Wake before.
It's the week before All Hallows Eve, All Saints Day, Halloween, the night of specters and ghouls and geists. So I am going to make my topic not a game, but I am going to find some scary fantasy stories, like maybe D&D horror stories, and we can read them, and I think that would be funny. And maybe I find some really horrible ones that are really shitty and we laugh at them.
Please just go and find like this is the story of Torque the Goblin and his horde and the time that a worm was in it.
Oh no! I thought that we could do that for a little bit next week because I think that it's a theme, Murph. We're doing themes now too. Well, we're a real podcast.
When we get to the point where we're doing multiple episodes a week, like 2 maybe.
Yeah, 3.
We should have a day where we just like one day is this, and then the second day is like all peripheral bullshit.
Yeah.
Of tabletop and D&D, like this.
It's going to be both of them.
One time.
You know, it's going to be both of them. It's going to evolve to the point where we're doing it on both.
Essentially, that's going to be our thing. Is that we just read D&D fanfics out loud?
Yes. And the giant's large member grazed the elf's face gently and emptied his seed onto her in a deluge of milky froth.
And the human paladin looked over and went, "What the fuck?"
The human paladin forsook his oath and ran away screaming.
He was like, "Bruh."
Yes, stay tuned for more smut fanfic from D&D.
I want to start doing a thing on the Twitter. I'm going to start doing like a D&D meme of the week.
Okay, yes.
That'd be fun.
Good plan.
And then we can talk about it.
Yes.
That encourages people to submit meme of the week to us.
Yes. We have email. We have Discord. We have Twitter. We have
Milky Froth.
Yes, I did say Milky Froth. We have the Twitch chat stream that you can interact with that I look at sometimes over here. You should ask questions. You should tell your friends, your family, your coworkers, your distant relatives, the ones with all the money that you don't like because they looked at you rude one time at Thanksgiving and said something under their breath that you kind of caught halfway, but you're not sure what they said, but you're still going to be angry at them. Those people, especially, we want. Tell everyone. This is a marketing scheme. This is how this works.
Oh, thank you for announcing that. Also, keep in mind that we would love to see the fan art of the things that we discover.
If anyone can draw, please don't send it if you can't draw. I don't want to look at it. Because Murph says some really batshit insane things, and I would rather not have to salt my eyes.
Fucking nightmare fuel.
We have YouTube as well. All of our previous episodes are on YouTube.
We're going to look at the whole multi-stream thing because that's going to get us a bigger audience.
And we use tags now. So we use tags. We have bits. We have holiday specials. This is a fucking real production, Murph. We're doing real stuff. Do we have
channel points for this channel?
I don't know what that word means.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
We'll talk about it when I see you on Sunday. We'll go over some other
I feel like I say that a lot. I feel like I say I don't know what that means a lot when it comes to when you ask me about Twitch.
It's fine. It's fine.
And I'm the one streaming.
Graciously decided to host this for
It's okay. I have the rig that makes all of the vroom vroom noises when it's sputtering a bit. But it's okay. Funny. It's just the fan on the GPU.
Is there any news or anything that you want to put out? Anything exciting?
So some news. There is a Dragonlance setting for Dungeons and Dragons that's coming out in December. You can pre-order it now on the Amazons. It has
so much shit.
Yeah, it's nice. We are in the golden age of Dungeons and Dragons publications. They have the Legendary Edition for $110, I think. It comes with, you ready? Some books, some papers, a little privacy divider for the DM, some dice. It also comes with a board game. That board game, like, you play it before you do the campaign, and it will influence the current status of the world when you start the campaign. It's like a whole separate game that you play before. It's like a pregame, but not with, well, you can drink, I guess. But
good pregame.
Yeah. So you play the game, and then it informs the world of the decisions, and it changes things and the setup of the first bit of the campaign, and it affects it. It's cool. It's like legacy shit. That's coming out December 6th, I believe. It's on Amazon. You can look at it now. They've got all the bits and pieces you can stare at and get hard over because it's cool. But
back to the milky froth.
Back to the milky froth. Of course, it always comes back to that. But other than that, nothing really much going on. That's probably it for the year. Usually, they usually announce a few books every few months. There is a playtest for D&D 1 or 1D&D, which is their new backwards and forwards compatible D&D system. They're playtesting right now to see basically, I think they've recognized that there's a lot of books and there's a lot of settings and there's a lot of expansions, and they've changed some of the rules recently in one of the newer books, and I think they're trying to form a cohesive system that will fit into any book. Forever ago, there was a book called... Hold on, I'm going to look for the book. It's over here. Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes. And Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes introduced monstrous races that you could play. And the whole term's kind of problematic because it means that there are races that are monstrous even though you can play them, which is weird to me. But hobgoblins, orcs, full-blooded orcs, fearbolgs, kinkus, all these races that they had been able to play before in other editions, but they decided when they released 5e that they were kind of monstrous. They didn't want you to play as them. Well, then they released this book, Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, that said you can play them, but here's some limitations. Kinkus can't talk because they have to hear the voice beforehand. Orcs are very angry, and it's going to be hard to play a good orc. Tabaxis live in caravans, and they like skooma, etc. But yeah, you're welcome, of course. Monstrous races, not racists. I'm very sorry, Jamie. Races, the race, running a race. But we've talked about this before. It was kind of thinly veiled racism because it brought about racial predetermination, which was the whole idea that no matter what you do, if you belong to a member of a certain race, even in D&D, you're evil. You're an evil alignment character, like a full-blooded orc or a hobgoblin or a bugbear. These were races that were always considered evil no matter what they did because they were that race. So it is kind of like a thinly veiled racism. But so then they were like, hold on, we need to rework this because it's not fun to play a character that can't talk. It's not fun to play a character that has to be evil. This game is about being fun, not about adhering to rules that we ourselves made up. So they released a new book called Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse, which introduced all those same races, but then gave you a lot of customization. So you don't have to have all these restrictions when you play them. You take a couple points, you take a couple features, that's it. It's fun. They also reworked how spells work for monsters. So they've already in 5e had this sort of turnaround of how some monster mechanics works and how some racial mechanics works with when you pick your race. So I think they're trying to kind of standardize it all into one D&D, which is because they've released some race descriptions and stuff, and it seems a lot more open-ended. It's not you're an elf, so you get charisma and you get dexterity. It's you're an elf, you get Fey ancestry as a feature, you get a couple other things, and then you pick your attributes based on what you think is best. So it's a lot more sort of open to that, and it's supposed to be backwards and forwards compatible. I don't know how that's going to translate, but we'll see. But it's still in playtesting, and they're still trying to figure out shit. And they've said that they're not going to stop releasing 5th edition stuff because obviously it's a gold mine for them because 5th edition has taken off so well. And everyone's, streaming it and podcasting it and doing all these forms of media that's bringing it attention. So I think everyone likes 5e. But that's kind of cool. You can go online and playtest it if you've got D&D Beyond. There's a link on there to playtest it, which is cool because now D&D Wizards of the Coast owns D&D Beyond, and they're like forming their own entity, which is fun. But they've got like a few like sheets you can go through and play it and give them feedback. It seems fun. But it's still in progress, and it'll probably be a while before that's released. I think 2023, 2024 probably is what they said. I think
that's not too bad.
No, and it's there's always a quick sort of turnaround on these things with them. They're pretty quick to make changes like they did with the just monstrous races.
That's all they do.
Yeah. So that's fun. That's cool. I don't think there's anything else happening that I thought of. There's a new Plague Tale game I saw, which seems fun. Requiem, I think. Right? Yeah. I never played the first. I don't intend on playing this one, but I know a lot of people like it, so I'm going to say it, and maybe people will like me. I think that's how that works.
There's a lot of games. October and November is a huge deal for too in terms of gaming.
We've got a Frogger. We've got what's some other games, Murph? Tetris is coming out. We've got Skyfall. We've got Skyfall. James Bond Skyfall. Yes, surprise.
What is this? 2012.
It is absolutely.
No,
what games?
A couple of things coming out. I'm going to start with the furthest one out, which is November. Pokemon Scarlet and Violet's coming out.
I haven't decided
which is the first fully multiplayer open world Pokemon game that's come out, which means that you can play it solo, or from the very beginning, you and 3 friends can all play together, like through the story, which is a big deal. The starter Pokemons are meh. They're okay. I'm looking forward to Lechonk. Which is funny, of course. Lechonk is a pig, and it's funny because Lechonk is the Filipino word for pig, and they just added a K to that.
I like these starters more than I liked the look of the last starters in Sword and Shield. I like Sword and Shield. It's the first Pokemon game I have actually played 100% through, got all of the Pokemon, filled out the Pokedex and the National Pokedex. It was a fun, I enjoyed it. I put hours into that recently, this year.
What's big into this one is just because it's the multiplayer. I know that you are kind of not the biggest fan.
I hate people.
But you and Troy now could technically play through a Pokemon game at your own pace and then interact.
It's not going to happen.
Okay, noted.
I don't like playing games with people.
Other things that are coming out for our bros out there, the 28th.
What was that? Don't I don't like that.
You'll
don't
see
like that.
I say that. If I had a Mountain Dew, I'd raise it in their honor. The bros out there, the new Modern Warfare 2 drops. I am personally probably going to play it because Modern Warfare 2 was probably the only one of the Modern Warfare games that I ever got into in the first place. So that drops on that. So you're going to hear nothing but that all over the internet. So Modern Warfare 2 is going to come out. They added a third-person mode, which is going to be interesting because that was in the original too, but I never knew anyone that used it. And then they've added some fan favorite maps and stuff like that. So this is apparently a return to true form. We'll see.
Okay. A return to true form for the game that is basically just a reskin of itself every year.
Over
right?
and over again. Now, I'll give you this.
It's wow.
As a person that 100% agrees with you, genuinely, I feel the same way.
But you like it, right?
Modern Warfare, the last one that came out in 2019, 2020, the one that I've been playing, I don't hate it as a game for what it is. I liked it better than any of the Black Ops games, and I have not liked a Call of Duty game since World at War. Tried really hard to like World War II. They just didn't add enough content.
I'm really trying to get better at not dogging on people who like things that I don't like. Because I just don't like it. That's just I feel like you should be happy and do the things you want to do. But at the same time, I will never understand Modern Warfare, Call of Duty, any of those really formulaic shooter games. Because people will put hours into them, and I can't judge them because I put hours into Witcher 3, a game I've already beat recently. I put probably 200 hours in the last 2 months.
But again, it's the same way for the people that play games like what Troy's doing with Valorant.
Oh yeah, I just don't get it.
I can't. So I understand competitiveness, right? Because for people who like collaborative anything, in most cases always want to either find something that's cooperative or competitive. That's the two things. People who don't play sports when they're not, or people who play sports when they're not playing sports, play sports related products. Different kind of shit. When people are looking for something that they can do with their friends, something that inherently has come to evolve is people wanting to get a one-up on each other. And since the introduction of GoldenEye on the N64, which was the first multiplayer shooter that you could fuck each other up in 3D space, it's been downhill from there. People have just created endless shooters for each other. So Call of Duty was just the one that happened to capture that market alongside Halo at the right time. And I mean, good for them. The issue with it is that they became oversaturated to themselves. I mean, you had at one point 2 different Call of Duty games releasing in the same year, all
excessive.
asking you to spend $140 a piece on them. And it's ridiculous because, like, now with battle passes being introduced and all this micro exchange bullshit, like, it's just hard to make it worth playing those games. So I fell out of them. I played them on earlier consoles. I got really into Call of Duty Ghosts because I liked the multiplayer. I'm not chasing a game that's the same, just with slightly better graphics every 4 weeks. This one I'm going to look into. I haven't pre-ordered it. I'm probably going to wait until it releases to get it because I just want to see what's going on. But I will state. But the game that I'm excited for, I say game, it's a DLC.
Ricochet anti-cheat that doesn't even work.
Yeah.
I don't understand like 80% of that sentence.
It's the system that Call of Duty uses in their games to keep people from shooting.
And it doesn't work?
It not usually, no. People still find ways to hack into the game and make it more fun. That's something I'll never understand, is how hackers in a game like that feel good about themselves.
Well, Murph, I think they have tiny penises.
Well, yeah, but hey, we can't judge the size of your penis. What I think you would like to say is that their souls are shit.
That is fine too. But I was referring to the penis of the soul. The soul penis. They have a tiny soul penis.
The soul penis. Oh my God.
It's a soul penis.
Did I ever tell you that when I was a kid, when people would talk about the soul, I always imagined that the soul looked like a question mark?
Oh. I mean,
like, just without the dot at the bottom. Like, when people would say, like, your soul, I was like, so it looks like this?
Really?
That's it.
I think that's a good representation, though, because no one's really sure.
I was like, why would the soul look like a hook? I don't understand.
I don't know.
But that was just what my brain
That's kind of cool, though. I like that.
So now I'm just picturing a hook with a small dick.
Yeah, a hook with a small dick.
But no, the game that has DLC coming out on the 28th is Resident Evil 8. Resident Evil 8 is getting
I saw you playing 6 last night. Was that you were playing 6?
Me and Zero.
You had a strange person over your shoulder. I don't know what that was.
Zero. That is Zero.
Is that a person you know?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
My Canadian friend.
That's very nice. I thought for a minute you had an anime body pillow over your shoulder because I just turned around and looked. And I was like, what is that?
They are a pretty prolific VTuber. They've got about almost 1,200.
And what is a VTuber for people who don't know what that is? Me. I don't know what a VTuber is.
VTubers are virtual
vultures.
Sorry, they're virtual entertainers.
Okay.
Jamie was there. The whole purpose of them is that instead of not having a camera on, because a lot of people don't want to show their
I get that.
Faces.
Some people's faces.
When they stream, instead of showing their own face, they show a personified character like a mascot. So they speak through the character. Their whole channel is wrapped around this person.
So it's like a persona?
Yeah, with Persona 5 coming out.
Well, I didn't know that. I mean, I don't know what that game's about. I'm just saying like a persona.
Yeah,
that's kind of like who the... Okay.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
So in the biggest one on Twitch is an individual VTuber named Iron Mouse. She is Puerto Rican, and she has a debilitating autoimmune disease. So she is bedridden. She physically cannot leave her bed.
So, but it creates a way for people to interact and
through this safe space, but it also keeps the anonymity so that they can't be harassed or attacked because no one knows who they really are.
Yeah, I can see that.
They can build this character that's completely different from themselves and present that out there, which also helps because they don't age. So which means that you can keep up like a childish charm your whole time. And uses a weasel animation instead of a camera. I mean, it's a popular thing. If you go right now on fucking Twitch and you look up any game category,
there's going to be VTubers.
30 to 40% of what you would see is VTubers because it's the most popular way to stream.
Does the V stand for video? Video virtual. That's right, virtual. Okay, cool. Yeah, see, I just don't think about the fact that I'm putting my face on the internet, and then when I do, I really, really get stressed out, and then I don't think about it again, and it works out perfectly. And then I also think about we only have at max 3 viewers, so it's fine.
Yeah, my face is my brand. I don't know if you ever caught any of my streams in the past. I had for about a year a mascot character that I kept.
You told me about this. Yeah. And the idea was that, and in truth, I was kind of getting in on the hype of the VTuber. Yeah.
And I was like, well, if I have a character that people can relate with, then they'll have someone more to attach.
Okay. So you were a hype whore.
Yeah, I went into it, and I guess it didn't sit well with me. It's very expensive in most cases, to have quality and to create art. And
and you don't want to half-ass something.
Yeah,
like our podcast.
I retired the character. It's just me now. So
okay, gotcha. It's just
my
you.
own branding. But yeah,
I like how you say you retired it. It gives me an image that you took it out back and shot it.
No.
I laid them to rest.
She just I got rid of it. I had hired a voice actress to voice.
Yeah, you told me you did like a lot of work on that.
And I just it just didn't work out. It wasn't great. But no, with the Resident Evil expansion coming out, so this is an entire new thing for that. You played Resident Evil 8, didn't you?
No, I did Biohazard or 7.
7.
I don't know why I keep calling it Biohazard. Troy said it's not called Biohazard.
It's Biohazard is the name of the game. It is Resident Evil 7 Biohazard, but in Japan it's called Biohazard 7 Resident Evil.
That's confusing.
Japan, the game was never called Resident Evil. It was always called Biohazard, but because the word Biohazard freaks Americans out, they named it Resident Evil.
Yeah, it does.
So
a lot of reasons.
So that was the reference to each other in the newest game. But if you liked 7 at all, you would like 8.
Have they done expansions for their games before?
Yeah, there's been DLC.
Okay, I don't know.
7 was probably the first one to get anything substantial. It had like 2 bonus stories and then like a little mini game mode. This new one is an expansion to the actual storyline, which almost never happens.
Yeah.
And then in this, they also added Mercenaries mode, which is a very popular mode. It's like a time trial, kill as many zombies as you can.
Yeah.
In the last DLC that dropped, this one allows it to be multiplayer, which obviously is not a big thing for you. But they also added in like 7 new characters, including 2 of the bosses from Resident Evil 8 that you can now play as. So that's the thing. But that's not what
is one of them the big vampire mommy? Is that can you play as her with Lady the scissors and stuff? I don't.
Yeah. The scissors.
Doesn't she have scissors?
Yeah, she has Freddy Krueger fingers.
Oh, that's what it is. I don't know. I only know about Resident Evil 8 from memes. Scissor dicks and everyone was really into Lady Dimitrescu?
Lady Dimitrescu.
Yeah, okay. They really liked her because she was tall and could step on men, and I think that men wanted her to step on them. I think.
Yeah, she's also thick for some reason. Yeah. They made her very.
They made her very curvy and very sumptuous.
Here's the crazy part: is that Resident Evil 7 started a thing that Resident Evil had never done before. Fully
creating villains you wanted to fuck.
Well, no, it was a concept that they had kind of played with, and other games had done this, but they were like the first one in the Resident Evil series to really push this forward, and that was using real people.
Okay.
So Lady D is an actual woman. She's not 9 feet tall, but like her facial model, and her act,
like the mocap stuff.
Real people.
Did like the little dots.
The voice actors do the mocap so that the acting matches the sounds.
Okay.
But like the facial features,
they like modeled it off of a very real person.
They do very intense high-tech scans of real people. So Leon, when they did Resident Evil 2's remake, Resident Evil 3's remake, these are all real humans that you can meet in the world. And it's very popular for those people to come in and then play the game. Lady D's facial model.
Lady D's nuts.
Lady's D.
This is what I need that button. I need that button to press. No. Penis.
But she realized that her character's popularity was like kind of exploding all over the internet. So she did a very big deal photo shoot as her character. And it, again, because it's her face, it looks just like her.
Yeah.
She just they had to edit it to make her look 9 feet tall. But the thing is that she raised like $1 million for charity.
Oh, cool.
So like that was the whole point, is that she was trying to earn money for various things. She's also like Yugoslavian or something like that, so that was kind of interesting.
We have 4 viewers right now. Don't say anything.
No, we have 2.
Oh shit! I'm looking at something different, Murph. Murph, we have 2. Don't scare them off.
But yeah. So this expansion's coming out. It's about her daughter. It takes place 10 or almost 15 years after the game ended, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah, it is 4.
Played it. And
it says 4.
I know it says 2 on my end. I'm sorry.
Mine says 4. Okay.
If you're looking at the streaming thing, that's one thing. You got 4. I don't know. It says 2 on my end. I don't fucking know.
Well, one is me, and the other is also me. So I've got it open on Troy's computer, and it's a separate thing on my
computer is off.
No, it's not. That's a background.
It's just black with a flashing light. It's like in rest mode.
Yeah. Well, I think it's just turned the tower off. I think.
Okay. Well, either
still
way,
got glowy lights.
so that game's coming out.
Expansions for
for Resident Evil 8, that's gonna
Devil's
be cool.
8.
Demon Devil's
I don't know. I had a mild conniption while I was trying to say Resident Evil.
But yeah, so that's exciting. That's literally 9 days away now.
9 days. Wow, that's crazy. Murph, a fun game that is coming out soon. Where was it? It's in my Steam library somewhere. Brick Tales came out, the Lego game. I didn't get it, but it looked kind of fun, sort of.
Brick Tales, and then they also developed for the Switch Lego Fighters, which is you use all of the Lego properties to beat the shit out of each other, which is interesting because now you can play as Rick and Morty.
Yes.
And then play as Doc Brown. So you can have Rick Sanchez versus Doc Brown.
Which is like a classic type deal. I was going to say that Cult of the Lamb is coming out, but it actually came out evidently a whole fucking 2 months ago. So I'm going to go bury myself in a cave because I am not current with what.
And they have probably one of the most interesting live Twitch stream utilizations that I've seen in a game in a while that does that. Cult of the Lamb allows your viewers to try to join your cult.
Of course.
And then it turns their avatar, it draws them out of a hat just randomly. For every so many that join, it draws one out of a hat. And then it turns them into NPCs in your game.
Oh, that's kind of cool. That's kind of
So you can immortalize people that watch you in your game as specific people.
I like that.
And the more people you have watching you at one point, the more powerful your character gets.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
so
cult.
It kind of encourages people to do. I thought that was pretty interesting because I like the idea of Twitch integration that makes it not stupid.
I worry
that does that where,
about Twitch integration at a high level, Murph, because that's more things that I'm gonna not understand at all and be very confused about on a major level.
What fucking game is that? There's another game that does it to where the viewers of your Twitch stream can fuck with your game. So
Murph, I think that's just called Twitch.
They could just drop if they spend $1, they can drop 6 monsters on your head just randomly, and you're like, wait, what the fuck? I gotta deal with this. I don't know. Genuinely, it's to encourage them to donate to you.
Okay.
But they in turn can then fuck with your gameplay.
We can get money out of this?
Yeah.
People will give us money. Oh my god.
Bro, you say that like we didn't talk about that before.
Murph, we can get money.
The veil is torn.
We've really got to up the production quality of this. I need a green screen. You need a green screen.
I have a green screen.
More green screens. That's where the future is, Murph. All the green screens.
You can see the difference in detail between what the blur here is.
And then also you've got these weird webbed fingers. Ugh. If you have webbed fingers in real life, I'm sorry.
It's blue, but the screen is black right now for some reason. So.
That's okay. Murph, your video camera looks fine. You look swell.
Webcam. I just got to get something a little better.
The issue with mine is that it's so good with the resolution. You can see every single clogged pore on my forehead and nose and cheeks.
I asked you. I have a spare green screen if you want.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Also, I did shave before this, so I look like a 12-year-old.
You did shave.
Yeah,
that is.
I look like a 12-year-old.
You are not the facial hair type, but also you work in an environment that I feel like facial hair would be kind of annoying.
That's whatever. I've had it before. I had that weird goatee thing going on a while back when I just forgot to shave. I
still have a photo of you where I've edited a beard on, and it doesn't look like you. You look like you should be a lumberjack.
I will one day have a glorious beard, but it will be after I have died and someone has glued one onto my corpse as it hangs in the village square.
There's a lot of questions I have about that statement.
It's a good question.
Ask them right now.
Yes. Anyway, Murph, this has been a really fun time. We're about an hour 16.
What's our topic for next? You said next week is going to do the
spooky D&D stories.
Spoopy. Now I will state that.
Sorry, spoopy.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the thing.
That's okay. I just thought you froze or were pooping.
No. So the 26th. Okay. I don't know why I was thinking that we did this podcast on Sundays because I was going to say,
no, we do D&D on Sundays.
So, yeah.
If yes, so we will plan on doing next Wednesday, but Murph is getting married soon, so he's got a lot of things going on. So we might push it a day, pull it a day. Who knows? We've got to be very flexible.
I have no plans for next Wednesday.
Okay.
And
well,
November should open up a lot to not having to do bullshit.
That's great. Well, it's not bullshit. It's wedding planning, and it's fun.
No, I mean just other things other than that as well.
Well, to be fair, next Wednesday is Jamie's birthday. Oh my God! Happy 27th birthday. Because you said you're 26, unless you were just counting ahead and saying you're 26, and then you'll be 26. But happy 26th or 27th birthday. Wait, I definitely am 20. See? Yeah, okay. I said both because I wasn't sure. Congrats. We have a YouTube. We have already gone over all this. We have social media channels if you'd like. Please follow us. It's What's in the Dungeon podcast, Twitter.
On everything. There should be a link below to our Discord as well.
There is a link.
There's no one else in it but us right now.
That's okay.
Be completely transparent.
There's links to YouTube, tweets, and other stuff on our Twitch page. Chat was paused due to scroll. Shut up.
I would like to state to you, John, just for my own satisfaction here. My music YouTube channel hit 50 subscribers, so that's cool.
What is a music YouTube's? What does that mean?
I have a channel where I put music out.
Oh, like you sing?
Yeah.
I didn't know you sang music.
Yeah. I have
Is it metal?
Where I put music out. Some of it, not all of it.
I could see you being like a good throat screamer. Like that'd be just screaming from the throat. You've got a great throat on you, Murph.
You throat goating over there. Yeah, so my music channel hit 50 subs, but my Twitch channel is at 194 followers. So I'm 6 away from 200.
That's a really good number. That's a big number.
I'm super excited. Yeah, I was like, man, I'm almost at 200. And then
Murph, damn it. What did you say? We lost a viewer. We're down to 3. What did you say? Murph, god damn it. Did you talk about murdering kids again?
If we look at my screen, we actually went up a viewer.
Oh my god. Murph's catching up. The balance in all things. So yeah, reach out to us, text us. No, don't text us. Don't do that. That'd be weird. Don't dox us.
Text you.
You'll text me. I'll text you.
Dox us.
Don't do anything rude or mean or bad. We will be here next week. We'll be discussing Halloween and its effects on the psyche. We will also be doing this weekly, hopefully, moving forward, like Murph said, some stability. We've got some bits already now. We've got some fantastic bits, I think, that really have legs. Now, I will say that one of the bits we do is this ending bit here that I'm not looking forward to because I was trying to think of something to ask all throughout the podcast, and I kept getting distracted by dick jokes and murdering children. So,
by the way, because I did it last week. So
it is my turn to ask you what's in the dungeon.
No. It's my turn to ask you.
Oh shit! Stop! Oh my god!
It's your turn to answer the age-old question. What the fuck is going on?
So this is a bit we do, and I'm gonna try and delay Murph asking the question so I can quickly think up of an answer. This is a bit we do where we ask each other what's in the dungeon, and then the other person has to come up on the spot with what it was. And Murph had a really good one last week. Some type of leprechaun eating a banana or something. I don't know.
They had this shaved beard spot.
Yeah, and it was really specific and really great. And I'm worried I'm just going to say like something like a koala. But, something boring. We will be here next week discussing Halloween stories. I'm going to try to find some spooky stuff and also some shitty, funny stuff. Because I like Halloween and I never really do anything for it. We might have a special Halloween song that we sing together. But I don't know. Who knows?
That would be news to me.
I'm not putting that out there into the universe. I take that back.
You just did.
Anyway, go ahead, Murph.
All right, John.
Yes.
As the time-honored tradition
of 3 episodes,
we must do so.
Yeah.
I ask thee. Pray tell. What lies in the dungeon?
I like that you used an H in that. I like that you did what. What is in the dungeon, Murph? Well, I'll tell you what's in the dungeon. Today we've got a lovely Model T Ford car, and it comes with a stereo, a time-traveling portal device strapped to the back, and of course the desiccated corpse of Henry Ford.
I don't know why, but when you started off like that, I genuinely thought you were about to be like a weather. You just described the weather in the dungeon. Today,
we've got clouds.
We've got partially cloudy skies. We got a wizard standing on a hill, but he's only going to mess with the weather about 10% today. So if you can avoid these areas behind me, you'll see.
In fact, you should just get the fuck out of this whole dungeon. It's bad. Get out. Go.
I actually had the ability to pull up like a weather map behind me.
That'd be funny. That'd be a good bit. Anyway, yes, it's an old car with a corpse in it. Anywho,
car with a corpse in it.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Let us know if you have any questions. We like interaction. I try to keep an eye on chat. It's not usually this active. There's a lot of chat. Thank you, Jamie.
Well, thank you specifically.
Yeah. Take care, everyone. Stay frosty. It's getting cold. Get your flu shots. Get your vitamin C if you have a deficiency.
Sinus infection.
We both had sinus infections. Don't get strep throat. It's going around 2 right now, and I had it like a few weeks ago and felt like I was in 4th grade again. It was horrible. Get your flu shots. Get your sinus medication. Get it all down now because it's going to get colder and it's going to get gross. And I don't want a bunch of sick people watching this show. If you got sick because you were dumb and you licked a window that had disease on it, so no licking windows.
I almost felt like you were directly calling out the lady that licked the toilet seat on an airplane.
I didn't know that was a thing, but we don't have time to discuss that, Murph. There's no time. But what happened, real quick, what happened? Somebody licked the toilet seat on a plane.
When COVID got announced, and they're like, it's highly contagious, please be careful. And
okay.
Before the mask mandate, this woman went on an aircraft and started licking the public toilet seat.
Like a fetish?
She was like, No, she was like, I'm gonna make myself get COVID, and then she started licking the
from people's butt cheeks,
filming it, and one of them, yeah, and she's like, so I'm gonna lick the toilet seat, and then she's like, does this make me hot yet? And people were like, no,
no, you're only hot to psychopaths who will murder you and eat your liver. That's what you're hot to. That's who you're hot to. Okay, yeah, I didn't know about that.
They were cooked.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, don't lick toilets either. God, we shouldn't have to say this.
Like we should have to say that.
No.
But yeah,
if anyone's listening here thinking about licking a toilet, I mean, if it's a clean toilet and it's like a fetish, I'm not gonna try and kink shame you. But at the same time, maybe rethink your life.
Fetish, please help get yourself.
Rethink your life. Anyway, have a great night, everyone. We'll see you all next Wednesday on the next episode of What's in the Dungeon podcast. I've been John. That's been Murph. Yada yada yada. Sorry. We'll be here next Wednesday. You can tune in. And tell 10 people. That's the rule. If you watch, you have to tell 10 people. It's like one of those. It's like one of those Ponzi schemes where you have to like get more people to give you money. That's what we're doing. Except there's no money. Hold on. What are you trying to point at?
To me, I was pointing at you, but I realized on the stream I'm sideways.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out which direction.
The other way. Point to your left. There you go.
This guy.
There we go. Murph.
The big thing, fusion.
Well, it's because we're at different distances from our. Hold on. No, I moved. There we go. Okay. Okay. We did a little bit. We did a little bit of finger touching.
I was gonna say, do you have anything? I mean, I know that you've been pretty busy recently, so you haven't been streaming. Do you plan on coming back at some point?
Well, Murph, I would say yes.
I'd still love to watch you play the Baldur's Gate games at some point.
I would say yes, but I also would say no. So the real answer is
probably not.
I don't know. I mean, this takes a lot of time out of my 1 hour a day, a week. 4 times a month.
It used to be like 2 hours that we did this.
Yeah, we've got better with time management. But I do D&D for 2 different groups. I do this. I also really like alone time with my own video games to myself, so I can watch stupid people on a podcast do stuff too, because I need to consume 18 forms of media at once.
Again, if you decide not to, that's fine. I just, I enjoyed your Skyrim streams. So
I'm glad you did. I'm really glad you did. Maybe we'll see. I mean, I still got Skyrim and all those shitty mods and stuff that I had. We'll see. I'm not ruling it out. I really don't think if I do, it'll be before the end of the year, just because I mean, work's gonna get worse before it gets better, and this is flu season. I'm gonna get flu 8 times.
Amazing.
Yeah, I'm already calling it. So we'll see. I'm not against it. I mean, you can follow my channel. There's no current videos, and my YouTube has like 6 on there with no views. So if you'd like to, I think my description, my channel, mine and Murph's channel are on our channel, I believe. Like we've added links if you'd like to see it.
You can click either one of us and find us there.
Yes.
Streaming on my end.
Tuesdays, Thursdays. Fun times.
Thursdays.
Go watch Murph.
Is myself and Zero Master right now.
Mm-hmm.
He's the VTuber I was referring to earlier.
Yeah.
We're playing the Resident Evil 6. We beat it. We beat Chris and Piers' campaign last October.
Yeah.
So now we are on Leon and Helena's campaign this October. I don't know
if you watch this October to do and you don't watch Murph stream Tuesdays and Thursdays, you're basically evil. You're an evil person.
Oh my God.
I'm calling everyone out. No, I'm kidding. No, because everyone has different schedules. But you should watch him. He seems fun. I've watched a couple times.
I back up all of my stuff. If you can't catch my channel,
YouTube's
on Tuesday and Thursday, my YouTube channel under the same name, Mr. Up Here, has all of my full stream VODs and stuff, and I do highlights and stuff, so you can check out there.
Yeah.
So.
Anywho,
Thursdays is fucking Halo, so if you like Halo, we're there.
Yeah, that sounds fun.
That we haven't done it in like 3 weeks.
That's okay. Anywho, last time. Goodbye, everyone, and have a great night.
Yep.